So I teamed up with TKELL Knives, which is a veteran-owned knife company. They make 100% USA-made knives, and me and Tim teamed up in order to create a purpose-driven self-defense knife. Tim is a great dude. I can't say enough good things about him. He's the type of guy you want in your corner, and those are the type of guys I like to surround myself with. Awesome guy. Can't say enough good things about him and his wife. Now, we teamed up, and this is a real collaboration knife. He designed the handle, I designed the blade, and what we got is the FLN. It's available right now. I will link it down in the description. You can get it in two different options, either one with the metal karambit ring, or two, which is a full tang karambit ring, or two without the ring. Now, if you get it without the full tang karambit ring, it will come with some replacement G10 scales for you to turn it into a karambit if you choose. So by getting the one that's not a karambit, you're actually getting both. Now, if you get the one with the metal karambit ring, it's obviously full tang, so it can't be removed. You can choose between G10 or micarta, and it does come in different color options, just depending on what your flavor is. And it is an 80 CRV2 steel. It's a steel for tactical knives. And I think it's a great steel for this type of application. It's not a high wear resistant steel, but it's an extremely tough steel. And, you know, because this is not a cardboard cutting knife, this is not your EDC knife, this is a purpose-driven knife made to do maximum damage to body parts, and that's exactly what it does. It has a hawkbill blade, which is designed to pull the material in, kind of like a cat's claw. You ever gotten a cat's claw stuck in your pant leg? It's very difficult to get out, and it's also very difficult to stop the claw from going into your clothing, period. But that's the same concept of this blade shape. Once the tip touches whatever you're going after, it's going to pull the material into it, which does make this thing extremely effective. Because like I said, all you got to do is touch the tip to it. You don't have to try to push forward. It'll literally pull the thing right into the edge, creating maximum damage. So the idea behind this design is to be a very concealable knife that's very difficult to stop you from getting to. So whatever the situation is, you want to be able to easily obtain your tool as fast and as effortless as possible. And you want it to be able to do that even under stressful situations while being attacked or whatever. And that's the idea behind this. It's very difficult to stop you from grabbing your belt buckle. If you can grab your belt buckle, you can grab this knife, at least if you put it in the place that it was designed to go. Now, you can carry it however you want, obviously, but once you do get it out and you get it into action, all you have to do is swipe. It's designed to be in the forward grip. Now, if you're good with, karambits and you like the reverse grip, that's fine. Do you. But it's designed to go in the forward grip because this motion is a lot easier for people to do than this motion. So it's made to do damage in the forward grip, and anybody can swipe. Anybody can do this. And as long as you can do this, you can use this tool. So it's designed for people that might be weaker, that might be elderly, that might be smaller, or whatever. You never want to slash like this, where you're being very dramatic with it, or where you're following all the way through. Because when you go this way, you're left open right here. When you slash this way, you're left open this way, and that gives somebody an opportunity to rush in. So you want to keep your motions nice, tight, and fast. Rapid and fast. Go after hands, arms, limbs, things like that. If you are going to punch, do it with a jab. Same thing with the reverse grip. You can do a hammer fist jab like that. But when you are slashing, keep it nice and tight. Don't be dramatic about it because you don't want to leave yourself open. You want to keep your limbs nice and tight in and go after theirs. So you want to keep your motions, like I said, nice and tight, very deliberate, intentional. Don't overthrow anything. And if you train with this, this is also going to help you in tight places like hallways, cars, your girlfriend, places like that. So you don't want your strikes taking a lot of time. You want them to be very fast, because the more time they are, the more likely you are going to be rushed, you're going to be slammed, you're going to have your limbs grabbed or your arms grabbed. So in order to prevent that, you want to make sure they're very tight, fast, and very deliberate. Remember, this knife is not designed to go on the attack. This knife is designed to stop an attacker. So in a clinch, in a car, in tight places, a place where you can't get away, you can't run, they're on top of you, they're trying to go for your gun, or whatever, you know, maybe they grabbed you from behind, something like that. So that's what this is for, to get you some time, to do life-threatening damage extremely fast, and to get you away from that situation as fast as possible, or to possibly follow up with another weapon. Obviously, do what you can, train. I think one thing you should definitely train for with this is clearing your clothing. That will be one thing you could run into. So I do think that it's important to develop the skill set of clearing your clothing and getting it out. Now, this knife is also designed that if your hand or arm is being attacked, you can easily get to it with your non-dominant hand. You can jab with it, or hammer fist jab, which is very easy for people to do, or you can swipe up. However, when it's in the forward grip, like I said, practice clearing your clothing, whether it's with two hands or whether it's single-handed, where you do it all in one motion. But clear the clothing, because that's what's going to hang you up, if anything. I do have some USA-made apparel coming. They'll be on the NEEVEKNIVECO site. It's coming very soon. We have some with the knife design that me and Tim did together, and then some with other knife art. There's going to be some that are very subtle and some that are not so subtle. These are 100% USA made. I'm very proud of them. I've been trying to get some USA made apparel for a long time, so that is coming very soon. So where did this design come from and why? If you come to my lives often, you've probably heard me tell stories of my past, of different crazy situations that I've been through and I've seen. While many different scenarios led to this design, I'm gonna tell one story. I was at a fast food place, me and a buddy. I was passenger, my buddy was the driver. And this place is just known for being super slow. And what happened was, to make a long story short, some girl jumps in front of us while we're in line, because we had to leave a gap because the line was going out to the road. So we had to leave a gap for traffic to get through. Well, she jumps in front of us. We get in this little, you know, back and forth calling each other names. And then a few minutes goes by, and all of a sudden our vehicle gets surrounded by Latin Kings, one of which opened up my door, because back then, you know, not all the doors just automatically locked. I think it was a Grand Am we were in. So the guy opens up my door, grabs me by the arm, and starts trying to pull me out. His other buddies are around the car. They all have guns, and we're blocked in from front and back. So there's a car directly in front of us and a car directly behind us, so we can't push forward. Now I think about this situation, and I'm gonna say how it ended, but it could have ended a lot differently. And I try to think about what would have worked in this situation when somebody's grabbing my dominant arm. It wouldn't have been a firearm. One, I wouldn't have been able to get to it because he has my dominant arm. My firearm would have been right here or right here, but I wouldn't have been able to get to it. So that's out of the window. And even if I was able to draw a firearm, I was outgunned. So what happened was while he was tugging on me, trying to pull me out, I was, you know, pulling him in, obviously, trying to stop myself from being pulled out. The car in front of us wound up inching forward a little bit, which left us a little gap. The same girl where this whole thing started blocks us in and is standing in front of the car. Well, my buddy winds up running her over. She gets hit by the car, goes flying, and I wind up dragging the dude through the parking lot until he falls off and the door slams. So sometimes I think about, what if it would have went differently, right? What if the scenario would have been different? How would it have ended? And I always go back to this being the perfect tool for that job. I would have been able to grip it with my non-dominant hand, and I could have stripped his hand off of my arm, which would have led me to be able to shut my door, for one. Two, hopefully that would have created a little bit of time enough for us to leave before I got ripped out. Luckily, it did go the way it went. And some people would probably say, well, they could have just shot you after you did that. And yeah, that's possible for sure. But since their buddy was right in front of the car and all that, I think there would have been a little bit of time in between that because they wouldn't have known what happened, right? As soon as I cut him, he might scream, he might yell or something, but they're not gonna hear a gunshot or anything like that. So it's gonna quietly get him off of me and then give me that little bit of time to get away or to prepare for the next move. But from my experience, situations don't usually go the way you plan, and they wind up being very spontaneous and things you can never predict. Like, you never would have thought it would have went this way. And those are the reasons why people get caught off guard. And in many cases, the person that's affecting you is trying to catch you off guard. So there's just so many different crazy scenarios. Of course, there's gonna be lots where the firearm is the better tool. Of course. There's gonna be some where it's not. And with a blade, the one cool thing about having a blade is that it's not just good for that. It's also good for, say, cutting a seatbelt off, or, you know, even if you have to open something up. Even though I think you should just keep this sharp, I don't think you should be using it for regular EDC stuff. If you know how to sharpen, go ahead, do what you got to do. But if not, then I would say keep it sharp just in case if that scenario happens. But it is a multi-purpose tool, even though this one's mostly purpose-driven. With your purchase, you're going to get this belt clip, which is designed to go right here on your belt, so you can easily get to it. And this might be the better option for you. However, I highly recommend adding to your cart. It's only a few extra dollars. Add to your cart either this clip, which he sells on his site, or this one. This one, it's very easy to put on and take off. It just slides right on the inside of your pants and then hooks around to your belt. Very easy to put on and take off. Now this one clips to your jeans or to whatever you're wearing, because this is designed to work on leggings if you're a female or whatever. So it can clip right onto that. And that's also the beauty about this clip, is you can clip it to anything. You can clip it to the inside of your pocket, your back pocket, whatever, even the belt technically, but this is probably the most effective way. So now it's very easy to get to. It hangs on really, really well. It's not gonna pull off. It's not gonna do anything like that. This one can be a little bit more difficult to take off than this one, but not by much. So I do recommend getting those and adding those to your purchase. Like I said, this is designed for him and her, small and big, old and young. It doesn't matter. That's kind of the point behind it, is to not have to be, you know, a super trained individual or a super strong individual or whatever, right? It's still gonna be easy and everybody can carry it. These belt clips are designed to basically work in anybody's clothing. So, and that's also why I recommend getting the other clip option. So this thing will evolve through the, you know, into the future. We are talking about thinning it out a little bit. That's something I really want. I want to thin this out, make it a little bit slicier, possibly do a different steel like Nitro V, which I would really, really love to see. And then the clip or the sheath, the way it works is when you put it in, you want to push tension that way. That will click it in. So push it in and then push it that way. See how it clicks in? So basically the retention spot is right here on the spine. So we're talking about making a retention spot here and here in the future to give it two different retention spots, so you don't have to maybe push it in like that. Even though this works really well, it does work great. But you know, like any knife design, they're going to evolve. You know, there's going to be some changes as you know, in the future and as time goes on. But as far as right now goes, this is a very, very effective self-defense knife. I do recommend sharpening this, and I say that because the edge angle that it comes with from the factory, like most factory edges, is not a very low edge angle. So while it's sharpened, it's going to be very effective with anything it hits. If you lower back that edge angle like I did on mine, 20 degrees per side, this thing is nasty and it gets even more effective, even more damaging. So I do recommend that. It will take a little bit of time because it is thick. This does have a thick grind, and another reason why we might thin it out in the future. But with a lower edge angle, this thing it gets incredibly sharp, and like I said, extreme damage. And since it is a little bit thicker and robust, when it does enter, I mean, it's creating a large wound channel with hardly no effort at all. Like I said, this thing will do some damage for sure. And anybody who's gonna sit there and scream about firearms and all this is secondary, right? This is maybe your firearm's getting grabbed and you have to stuff it and you don't want it to come out. You can deploy your secondary option. Or maybe you can't carry a firearm. Maybe you're in an area where you can't carry a firearm. This is compact enough where I believe you can pretty much carry it just about anywhere, including California. Don't quote me on that. Check your, I'm not your lawyer, but I'm pretty sure it is. But anyways, the point is that this thing is going to be a great option for somebody who's looking for something for that last ditch effort. God forbid if something happens, it's something that, like I said, very difficult to stop you from getting to and very difficult to stop you from using. And then when you use it, it's going to be very, very effective. With little effort, you can do life-threatening damages even on an arm. So even if it's just an arm that you swipe, it's going to be nothing for this thing to create a life-threatening cut in just one swipe onto an arm. So there you guys go. Like I said, everything will be linked down in the description if you want to purchase one. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.